Born in 1799, Mary Anning was an English fossil collector, paleontologist and dealer who lived in Lyme Regis in the first part of the 19th century. She made some of the most important discoveries in the history of our understanding of prehistoric life. But despite her many accomplishments, she was largely unknown outside of scientific circles during her lifetime, and died believing herself to be nothing more than a poor, uneducated fossil finder. Hi, it's me, and this is the story of Mary Anning. Mary Anning was born on May 26, 1799, in Lyme Regis, a seaside town in Dorset, England. Her family were poor, and her father died when she was just 2 years old, leaving her mother to raise her and her 3 siblings alone. As was common at the time, Mary received little formal education, but spent much of her time spent collecting fossils with her father and older brother. In those days, the local cliffs were being worn away by the relentless force of the sea, and in their place were revealing layers of sedimentary rock that were full of fossils. Most people saw these remains of ancient creatures as nothing more than curiosities, but for Mary, they sparked an insatiable curiosity about the history of life on Earth. She began bringing her finds to the attention of local collectors and scientists, and in 1811 helped the Reverend James Parkinson with his research into the geology of the area. He would go on to become the first president of the Geological Society of London, and credited Mary as being his assistant. By age 12, Mary had discovered several complete Ichthyosaur skeletons, and in 1811 found the first Plesiosaurus, a marine reptile from the Jurassic period that now known as the Loch Ness Monster, most likely inspiration. All of these discoveries brought Mary some much-needed money and recognition, but still, she remained poor. In 1813, Mary married a man named Joseph Anning, who, like her father before him, worked as a carpenter and cabinet maker. They had 2 children together, and by all accounts had a happy marriage. But tragedy struck once again when both of her children died young, and her husband was sent to prison for debt. Unable to support herself, she moved in with her sister and brother-in-law. Despite personal tragedies striking her and her family hard, Mary continued to make groundbreaking discoveries throughout the 1820s, including the first complete Ichthyosaur skeleton found in England and the first Basilosaurus, a 55-foot ancient whale monster. In fact, she found so many new and exciting fossils that the small town of Lyme Regis became known as the Jurassic Coast. She continued to work with a number of famous scientists, including William Buckland, who included one of Mary's fossil finds in his 1824 book, Illustrations of the Geology of Yorkshire, and credited her as the best provincial geologist in England. But for all her accomplishments, Mary never became rich. As the wife of a former convict, she was denied access to higher society and was unable to capitalize on her fossil finds. Though she was offered the chance to join a famous natural history expedition to North America, she was forced to turn down the opportunity because she couldn't afford to leave England without someone to care for her aging mother. And so she spent the last 20 years of her life working in her small seaside town, discovering fossils, raising her mother, and caring for her invalid sister. Mary Anning died on March 9, 1847, at the age of 47. She left behind a legacy of over 2,000 specimens, which are today housed in museums across England. She was finally recognized for her contributions to science, but not until after she'd passed away. Today, she's remembered as one of the greatest female scientists of all time. And in 2010, a blue plaque was erected in her honor in Lyme Regis, which reads, "Here lived Mary Anning, the most celebrated fossil collector of her day." Thanks for watching. If you'd like to learn more about amazing women in science, stay tuned for more information. Thanks. See you next time.